Everyone, it's go time. I am in the barn. It's just me tonight. Hope that's okay with you guys. Well, I say it's just me tonight, but it's actually, let's wait for Facebook. I think Facebook isn't in here yet. I don't see anybody from Facebook. Let's just give it a minute. Hopefully Facebook joins us here in a second. Hey guys, hey Dawn. Facebook, if you're here, will someone say hi? Because I'm not seeing that you guys are here just yet. So you got, oh, there we go. Sandy says hello from Facebook. Okay, cool. So, all right. Hey, Trish. Okay, now here comes Facebook. All right, so tonight is just me. However, it's not just me because I have two guests. I think it's our first guest that we've ever had on our live. And I think you're really going to like them. I think you're going to like these ladies. One of them is a really good friend of mine. I talked about her in our last live. I met her and her husband when we were out traveling, and she lives in North Carolina. So she has been my point of contact almost every single day, updating me on what the needs are up there. And I asked her, would you come on and just talk to the people, let's discuss what's going on, what our plans are. So in about 5 minutes, I'm going to have her and another lady. Her name's Shonda. She's going to be joining too. It's Noemi, is my friend Noemi. It's her friend that lives in like a more remote area of North Carolina. So I wanted more perspective of what's going on up there, what the needs are. So I just wanted to let you know that in just a few minutes, we're going to have some guests on so we can get some firsthand knowledge of what is actually happening to people that live there. And then I'm going to go over my plans with them, with you, so you know what we plan on doing. Let's start with good things, though, because that's how we start every live, with good things. So do I have to even say what the good thing is? I think I could probably just show you guys really quick. Let me disconnect. Hopefully it doesn't turn this off if I disconnect my battery so I can walk around. I think I'm okay. Are you guys still with me? I think you are. I didn't lose you, did I? I don't think I did. All right, let's go. Look at my shirt. Can y'all see it? I'll be in the barn. I am in the barn. So I'm going to try to go slow. Right now we're in my little workspace here. But if you can see behind me, my workspace, it's kind of overflowed. Let's go. I'm going to try not to trip. Let's just take a little stroll. I just want you guys to see what you have done. What you have done. Just let's go. Literally, it's going to be like standing room only in here. I'm going to try to angle this down. I don't know how I'm going to not be in the way. And I promise you, at once upon a time, this was super organized. Can y'all see that? Look at this. This is floor to ceiling. Floor to ceiling. A room. So my good thing is, I'm going to have to plug back in here real quick. My good thing is y'all, number one. Number two, I have so many good things. Number two, I'm going to have to get a trailer. I can't even, we talked about it on the live last time, that my dream would be to, I'm reconnecting, guys, my stuff. My dream would be to get a trailer or a U-Haul. Yeah, you guys made that dream come true. There is no way all of those donations are fitting in the RV. I was thinking I would just put it on the RV and we can drive it. Not happening. So that's why I even had to cut off our Amazon wish list 2 days early. I was going to let it run a week. No, I cut it off yesterday at 5, because I was like, because things will still continue to trickle in. And I know that there has been some concern that people are going to be sending things that may not get to me before we leave and all that kind of stuff. So I want to let you know that we are leaving the weekend of the 26th. So not this weekend coming up. That's actually the Longhorn Lester's prom weekend. So we're not leaving this weekend coming up. We're going to be leaving the following weekend. I've got one of my guests here. I'm going to wait until the other one comes. So Shonda, give me a minute. I see that you're here. Just give me a second. So we're going to be leaving not this weekend coming up, but the following weekend. So between now and that next weekend, I'm going to be cataloging and categorizing and figuring out what all we have. And that way we can take it up there. And now both of my guests are here. So I'm going to add them to the live. And again, we've got Shonda and Noemi. And so let me introduce you. Noemi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Let me add Shonda now.
Hey.
All right.
You guys hear me?
Shonda's here. Awesome. So again, I talked a little bit about you guys already. You guys, I know Noemi personally from our previous travels together. We met on the road over in Big Bend. And then we spent a week together in the Smoky Mountains. Our kids, got along awesome, and we did too. And so, yeah, that's how we met. And both of these awesome ladies are in the thick of it. Like, y'all are in the war zone pretty much. I mean, so explain if you want to introduce yourself and where you guys are from. And yeah, you go first.
I can go first.
Yeah.
Sure. So Noemi, I live in Morganton, which is in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. So a lot of people have heard about Asheville, which is the biggest city around here that really got impacted. So we're about an hour east of Asheville, about 45 miles east. And I would say, what's the easiest way to describe it? Like, even though we didn't have the same level of impact, it was still astounding to see kind of even what we experienced with half the town being flooded, the amount of trees that came down. And we are not up in the mountains. Like, we don't have windy roads to deal with. So we had access immediately to the highway. It took about 4 hours before the roads were cleared to where I could get to the highway. And wow. So saying that just as context for all of you as to like where I am in comparison to where like everything else is.
Mm-hmm. And Shonda, what about you? Where are you at this time?
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah, I am. Can you all still hear me?
Yeah, sorry. It's a little laggy, but we can hear you.
Sorry, my service still isn't that great.
Yeah.
So I'm Shonda. I am from Burnsville, which is up.
I'm losing you just a little bit. I think we lost you.
Shoot.
That's okay. Noemi, do you know where she's from?
All right. So Shonda is from Burnsville, which it's normally about an hour and 15 minute, I think, drive from here. And right now it's taking about 2.5 hours. Though actually she said today when they drove up to deliver a bunch of supplies and help out some folks they knew that it was easier than any other time in the last 2 weeks. So she grew up in Burnsville, lived there her whole life. Oh, there you go. You're back. Can you hear us?
Hi, am I back? Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Sorry. We still don't have service here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Noemi was saying, I'm from Burnsville, which is up, like it's Mount Mitchell. Like the road that Noemi went to with us the other day was actually the road, like you can get up to Mount Mitchell from there. So like it's a pretty, out there place. It's a very small community. But it got hit hard. Like I've heard Swannanoa and Asheville got hit, devastatingly hard, but Burnsville is one of those small towns that you're not really hearing as much about. But I mean, the amount of devastation was just it's I don't even know how to describe it, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's catastrophic. It's I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've seen footage and things, but it's unbelievable. So I just really wanted the people who follow our channel to know you guys and get to know who I'm going to meet and who I'm going to be taking everything that they donated, time, prayers, monetary donations, wish list donations, that we do have a plan in place and that we're going to make our way up to you guys and make sure that this stuff gets into the right hands. Now, a part of that, I think that's crucial, is that Noemi, and I'm not sure, Shonda, maybe you too, you have been volunteering with different organizations to kind of get a little bit more better idea of how they're handling recovery. And can you speak on that at all, about which ones that you've volunteered with so far?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the beauty of having both of us on, because Shonda and I have had very different experiences of how we've been able to help. So it'll be really it'll be interesting to hear both sides. Mm-hmm. So I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm not from this area. So I moved here about 3.5 years ago. We had lived in Charlotte for a couple of years before that. And as Steph knows, I'm a mountain person. I need to be outdoors, and being over 2 hours away from the mountains was not okay. So we moved up here and we homeschool. So we've gotten very connected with the homeschool community and just with the community as a whole. And we love it. I don't see us leaving. And so when this happened, I mean, that first week was surreal. It was like you were trying to stabilize yourself and then immediately figure out how do you help others. And it was this spinning of who do I help? How do I help? Who needs the most help? How can I get connected to people who need help? And I mean, I'm watching, I got sucked into Facebook really badly and just getting on every single county's link and every town's to figure out how can I be of service. And then, so that first week, I basically just I was like a crazy person. I was balancing the kids, balancing volunteering, and then obviously balancing, I worked, though my work was incredibly supportive of just they were do what you need to do. Right. So that first week, I couldn't concentrate. So I volunteered both at different distribution centers, big and small. And then I've also volunteered at a Red Cross shelter, which I specifically picked because we've got, I want to say when I looked at it last, 3 days ago, there were 10 Red Cross shelters just in an hour's drive of me. And so I wanted to see what was going on there and where the support was and ask even questions around what they needed. And so I got to be able to volunteer there. The distribution centers that first week, oh my gosh, it was chaos. And I mean, people were the amazingness of people, just people bringing supplies and just bringing stuff in. And honestly, it was just stuff everywhere. And everybody was in a panic. I just jumped in. Nobody even said anything to us when we got there. We had dropped off a whole truckload of stuff that we had gotten from donations, and then just jumped in and started sorting and making bags of food and figuring it all out. And after I left there, I started bawling because all I could think about was all the people who needed that stuff. Right. And the chaos that was happening of nobody knew what they were doing. And they did. It just, in my mind, I was this is overwhelming. Yeah. And that was probably I want to say that was day 5 or 6. And the National Guard was there, the site I went to where it was chaotic, the National Guard was there. They were actually taking the loads to the smaller towns. And that was why I specifically went there, because that was important to me, is that it's not just the big places where everybody already had support and people coming in. And then the next week I went to a larger distribution site, and it was organized. Everybody, they had figured it out. That was day 9. And it was they knew exactly okay, you put these things here and this is how we're organized. And then you need to figure out how you sort the clothes and all of that. And it was still overwhelming. Every single person who showed up to help, it was just overwhelming the amount of stuff. And because I got there at 8 and people were just bringing truckloads, more and more stuff. And so we were trying to figure out how to get it into the right spot so they could figure out what they had. to then create pallets that then could be taken to the smaller distribution sites that couldn't house that much stuff to then distribute it actually to the people.
Gotcha.
And then this week, Friday, it was that I volunteered at the Red Cross. And that was an experience. I mean, I went to one of the shelters that was closest to me, just because I only had so much time without the kids. And so it was in the location where it was the least hit. And they had just moved from a bigger auditorium or rec center in the YMCA where they had 60 beds filled, and they had moved to it was a senior center where they still had 30 people, including families. And I mean, you've got people just walking around with nothing. Like they had one bag of clothes that might have been donated or might have been theirs. And the volunteers and the staff that were there were doing the best they could, but anybody who showed up to help, like there was immediately a job for them. Like I ended up spending 4 hours cleaning up the YMCA, which somebody else would have had to do and take away from the things that they knew how to do. So I was like, just put me on the worst job that you can think of. Like I'll go do it. And it was not fun, but like it's what was needed.
Right.
So I've just been trying. I went with Shonda once as well to just like drive up and try to. Well, first we like got everything. We had to go buy stuff, collect stuff, figure out what people needed, and that's where Shonda and I really started talking a lot because my heart is in the mountains. Like Asheville is devastating, and when I went to work there at the site, I drove through, and it's hard to see, but they've got so much support. It's these tiny towns up in the mountains that they have support, and there's so many people wanting to help and willing to help, but it's just they don't have the infrastructure for it. And so that's where like Shauna and I have been talking a lot of how do we help, and that's kind of where we've been saying, how do we take everything that you're doing, Steph, you and Buddy, and figure out how we get that directly to some of those smaller distribution sites or specifically to people that need it, like the exact things that they need.
Right. Shonda, do you want to talk about I know Noemi said that she had an experience and you had kind of a different type. I mean, do you want to talk about what your experience has been?
Yeah. So like Noemi said, like, we definitely got hit down here in Morganton. I mean, but we were only out of power, personally, my family for just a few days, and then like kind of started going back to normal. But I'm from up there, and honestly, like I was seeing the pictures of the devastation, and I had to do something. So I just started kind of calling around or like seeing on Facebook, like a lot of people were gathering donations. And then my friend Tracy, she's a huge horse girl. She has a goat farm down here, and she had started gathering like hay and some feed and stuff for animals up there. And so I started getting some information from a local page up in Burnsville, just like stuff that they needed like immediately. And so we got in touch with a church down in Hickory, Discovery Church, and like we got a bunch of supplies from them, and we got it taken up there. And it was like Noemi described that first distribution center. It was kind of together, but mostly chaos, because it was still within, I think I want to say our first trip up there was the Thursday after. So it was like day 6. And I mean, they'd kind of figured out like the animal shelter was like desperately needing water, but they had plenty of other stuff. Whereas you go, a few miles down the road to Roses, and they're like, please stop bringing us water. We have so much, but we need a lot of other things. And so I've kind of just, as a local, I have been able to talk to the people that I grew up with from there. My family, luckily it's a small town, and my family is pretty well known. So people like know who I am, and they know that like I can at least talk to some people and get some things done. I have a really big connection to the animal community. So I like today, for example, I took up a ton of things. I took up mealworms, dubia roaches, monkey biscuits, some homeschool supplies. Like people are needing very different things. So I've been lucky enough to be able to talk to people personally and kind of figure out what some people are needing. We've been able to talk to some friends, like our friend who wasn't able to get up to his parents because they live on this completely back off the main road, kind of like, gravel driveway up the middle of the trees kind of road. And they hadn't been able to get there, and it was completely washed out. So we were able to my husband and I hiked some supplies into them. And then the next time we went up, Noemi and their son went with us, and we were able to get more supplies to them. There is a family that lives below them. We went and saw them again today. Their house is across the street, luckily, from where they're staying. They lived across from an Airbnb. But it's beside this tiny little creek. And I mean, the river just ran through their house. And it's devastating to see, honestly. But I mean, I'm lucky that we have been able to help people kind of on a personal level, but also because I've also been able to talk to people with not necessarily like immediate people with the distribution centers, but when we went to South Elementary the other day, I was able to talk to them and say, hey, so like, what are people that really isn't, like, what are they coming to the distribution center asking for? And people at that point were saying like solar lights and candles and things like that. And as we progressed throughout all of this, I've heard more and more of anything for heat and anything to cook outside, like the kerosene heaters and like propane tanks with them and stuff, like really anything. Because at this point, it's getting down to the freezing temperatures up there at night. And I mean, they're needing a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's amazing that you have that heart for animals, because we do too, and so I think, Shonda, you're the point of contact that Noemi gave me for a mailing address. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've received any random stuff yet, but I know that Grub Terra is one of somebody who like sponsored us way in the past. And I reached out to a bunch of our sponsors, and they wanted to send it directly to someone there. And Noemi gave me your address. So you may be getting mealworms. I think like 4 pounds of mealworms.
That's amazing. That's actually on the list I have written up in my room for things that they're needing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
just the guy, Wyatt Bumgarner, if y'all see anywhere for like the Mitchell, Yancey, Madison kind of area, he's doing a lot of like he's taking horses out on teams. And they're finding people in locations where you can't like really hike to that easily. And it's hard to get an ATV up there. And so like their team is really needing a bunch of like, hay and supplies for that. But he's also helping out a lot of the farmers. I don't know. It's amazing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. Because that's one thing, that people tend to kind of put on the back burner is the animals. Well, you want to make sure that people are good, but also the pets and the animals and, so definitely that's amazing that's going to be, a forefront in your mind and in ours too. We've got, I know, a ton of dog and cat food that we're going to be bringing. So one thing that we discussed at our previous conversations is that by next week, I'm going to start to catalog, and I'll get with Noemi on everything that we have. And then she's going to let me know kind of where I need to stop along the way if there's like a specific distribution center that's just taking a bunch of dog and cat food. Or, we'll have those conversations of like, maybe I need to take that and, hand it out to people. I'm not sure. But what we are going to be doing is in this next week is making a plan of that plan of action on what needs to go where. And then Noemi's been really good with updating me on, okay, take this off your list, put this on there now. People need this. And so been tweaking that list. And obviously the list is off now, but everyone has been been really receptive to those changes and sending a lot of warm beanies and jackets and propane heaters and all that. So that was really good to see. And I got really emotional too with our supporters sending just all the baby stuff, like just, the formula and the bottles and the blankets, and just to know that like, God, I can't even imagine being a new mom and then you have nothing for your baby. It's just, can't.
Yeah, I've actually had a few people that have reached out personally and been like, hey, I can't get diapers, wipes, or formula, that we've had to deliver to their front door. And I mean, there was at one point in time, I know they were saying they had a shortage of like the special needs formula for kids, like, or for babies, the hypoallergenic and the non-dairy stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of been amazing. Like we have been able to kind of put the call out and get like a little bit in for what they've needed at the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll have some, and we'll be able to bring some to you with all of the support that we've got.
That's amazing. They're going to keep needing it. They're going to need it for, I keep seeing posts, people say, please don't forget Appalachia in the next 3 to 4 months.
And that's one thing I wanted to ask you both too is since Hurricane Milton hit Florida, have you noticed a pullback or like a shrinking, like federal? I know there's only so much federal aid, right? FEMA and Red Cross can only be spread out so much, but have you felt like when the other hurricane hit that you guys were there's like less help for you guys, or have you felt that at all?
Not personally. I don't know about Noemi's experience, but to be honest, other than the National Guard, I haven't seen much government input in most places.
Yeah.
At least with the smaller areas we've been to.
Oh, you froze up a little bit.
Lost her.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak on my experience. So I would say no, so I don't know what to compare it to. I mean, maybe had Florida been a lot worse as we like had it been what we expected, I think there might have been more of a pullback. From my perspective, I have seen like the National Guard is still very heavy in the places where it's really, I don't know what you call it, but like the places where the towns themselves were wiped out. So like Lake Lure, Swannanoa, Hot Springs, like all along where like before the water really hit the dam and slowed down just a tiny bit, not a ton, but a tiny bit, where they just got wiped out. And so I've seen actually an increase in the National Guard in some of those. And then from even like Red Cross, FEMA, Samaritan's Purse, like all those national organizations, I honestly don't know if there's less. What I have noticed is there is a lot more organization to it. So even on like, honestly, even my company, we have a site in Asheville, and then like I got a call like day 5 asking like, oh, we broadened it beyond Asheville because we realized we have employees that were also impacted, and they're like, are you okay? But they actually, so now they have a FEMA person on site at the location, which is, I think they're working at like half staff just because the location itself is fine, but nobody around it is. But so they have somebody there. I saw a bunch of posts in both our county, Mitchell County, which is kind of north of us up in the mountains. And I saw it in 2 others in the last couple of days as well, where they now have actually dedicated sites. They also have people who are going door to door to actually do assessments. I just saw a notice in the town it's about halfway or a little more than halfway between us and Asheville. And that town got really heavily hit. That was Black Mountain. And I just saw that they would put out a notice saying, guys, FEMA is making an assessment and they're going door to door. And inspectors will be looking at every single house in the area, regardless of damage. They might go inside, they might only have to go outside. But so I feel like there's more organization than anything that there was in the last 2 weeks. Like the last few days, that's what I've noticed the most of.
And let me ask you this. Have you heard or personally seen any reports of FEMA or any other type of organization like that blocking aid, like people trying to get to some stuff, but they've become like almost like a red tape or like not allowing aid to the people that need it?
Shonda, I'll let you answer first.
Not personally with FEMA. Like I've seen, Facebook banter of people saying that, oh, like this person got turned away by this, but we got to a point when we were delivering with Noemi the other day where the National Guard did stop us, but their question was, what are you coming through for? And I said, us and the 2 cars behind us are carrying supplies to deliver. And that man said, oh, thank you. And I was like, why? And he said, because I've had to turn away about 30 cars today who are just sightseeing. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, people are just coming through, and they'll admit it. They're just coming through because they want to see the destruction and see how bad it really was. Wow. So people are being turned away for that reason. But unless they're saying like, I have a trailer full of water and the place that you're taking it to is completely packed full of water, I haven't heard of any other instance of things being turned away. They'll usually redirect you to a place that could use it though.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah.
I would say the same. I haven't personally encountered any aside from that experience with Shonda. And then just watching some of the Facebook posts and then seeing kind of the comments and the banter back and forth. What the trend I kind of have really been noticing is generally if somebody's saying like, I came up with my ATVs or I came up with my tractor and I was turned away and I have nowhere else to go and where should I go? The frustrating part is they went somewhere that they didn't have like a point of contact or a plan, or they didn't call ahead or talk to somebody to say, this is what I'm coming with. What do you need? And so I think a lot of it that really popped up in the first week, 10 days, was that everybody just wanted to help. Like it was chaos. Like I don't remember much of that first week. Like I remember feelings and I remember like things, but it was just like everybody was in this like state of like survival and wanting to help. And so people would show up from 5-6 hours away just wanting to help. And they would say like, these roads are tiny. Like half the time you couldn't even get past a road. Like they needed to only have people who were actually like direct support helping. Right. And so it just like, they would be turning people away because they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a point of contact. Like if you weren't with an organization or had a reason to be there, they didn't want you there because it's a tiny town that's literally on the side of a mountain. Like it's not like you've got this sprawling space. Like they don't have a huge Walmart in the middle of these towns. Like they're tiny.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of that. And I think that's gotten way better because most people coming to help now have a point of contact or they're asking ahead of time. And I've seen a lot of that on Facebook too, where people are saying, I plan on coming in 3 days. Who needs the most help? This is what I've got. This is my experience. How can I help? So I think that's gotten better too.
Well, that's good. And I guess that just makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me in my mind that that's kind of the sequence of events. So another kind of touchy question I have for both of you, because it's something else that you see a lot of, is, you know, the death toll. I've seen numbers of like compared to 9/11. And then I've seen some reports of like a handful are actually, you know, have been found dead. And I've also heard that, you know, a lot of people will never be found because they're 6 feet under, you know, debris. And so I've also seen a couple things about this running Google Doc of like found and missing and deceased. So I would love to know if you guys know personally or how you know, what is your experience or knowledge of that as far as the death toll goes?
So I know for me personally, and I'm just speaking for the areas that I know, so like mainly Burnsville. But I know I'd heard yesterday that it had been reported, I think maybe on CNN, that the death toll was at 11 for Burnsville. And I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, I personally know of at least 15. So that's not really true if that is what's being reported. I've also, honestly, there might be people still, I don't know for sure. Like I haven't talked to people in a few days, but I was talking at the end of last week to some people who worked with the like the triage or trying to get out there first and like, you know, search and rescue and stuff. And they talked about how, you know, there was a point in time where for search and rescue, they were seeing people in water and they were having to just kind of, they're like, I can't do anything about that right now. I got to get to this person to help them. So it was kind of one of those situations where they had to just leave it for later. And like, I know they are still doing search and recoveries up in that area. They're still sorry, that's a lot. I don't know why that was suddenly a lot.
No,
but I mean, there are still people that are missing. And honestly, I don't know if the report is going to like come out whenever they do finally find or figure out how many is missing and what happened to them and what they can report to the family. That's what we all keep hearing is, oh, the number's just not going to be right until all the families can know, like, you know, what happened to their loved one. But there are still people I do know that are missing. So I don't know exactly, but I know that I've heard 8,000 different numbers. And I know personally, yeah.
A question that came through from Linda is a good one. Are there organizations that we need to avoid? Do you know of any that you maybe have had a bad experience with or that you've heard is not? That was a good, I feel like
I don't want to start anything because I don't know personally. I know that there's been a little bit of beef like within like, you know, different organizations in town, but I think it's mostly just because people have such high energy with this, like, and some people have a lot of like really good intention, and other people are so exhausted and overwhelmed by this, they're kind of overdoing the good. So I don't really know if there's any bad organizations. It's really just, you know, people's reactions really at this point. From my experience, I don't know about Noemi.
Yeah. From my perspective, I haven't seen anything truly negative. Like the overwhelming response of just people just wanting to help. I mean, even like all of you, like I saw you show just all the stuff that had come through. Like everybody just wants to help. And it's just amazing. I don't even know how to describe it. Like it is incredible. And my experience so far, there's not been a single organization that I've interacted with where like I would say don't support them. Some people, like not the organization, but some people I think even I've encountered, like they're just stressed. And I try to like, I always lead with like positive assumption. Like, I don't know if they've slept. I don't know what they're personally dealing with. Like if they've, you know, they might not have their house and they're just trying to volunteer and help. So like if I'm getting like attitude from somebody, that's not about me. Like I just let that go. And so I guess that's my perspective has kind of been like everybody's in chaos mode. Everybody's in survival mode. So anything that's negative, I try to just let go right now because there's enough negativity. Like there's enough bad things right now.
For sure. I guess one of my fears, and I've told you this before in our previous conversations, is that, you know, there's going to be such a strong influx of people to come to help initially. But after a while, especially as more disasters happen all over the world and all over, you know, the United States, my fear, because, you know, where you guys are at, is such a broad area of disaster. And I just, especially with winter coming, I just have a fear that, and I guess too, out of a little bit of firsthand knowledge of how disaster is and how it works, is that initially first couple weeks, everyone's here, everyone's helping, and then they kind of pull back and they disappear. And then it's really left to the locals to like help one another to rebuild. You know, obviously they were there from the start helping each other, but ultimately it's going to be, you know, you guys up there alone. And so I guess that's just like something that's like a fear of mine, knowing how that works and y'all going through winter. So I just really want to make sure that people keep you guys, you know, in the forefront of their minds for a long time to come. I mean, Christmas is not that long away. And so, you know, these kids are going to be without, and it just breaks my heart thinking about the long-term recovery. Noemi, you were telling me the other day that you know, it's going to be 5-6 months for some people to like kind of get back to normal. And so, I hope that my hope is that we can stay connected through these next, you know, obviously we'll stay connected forever, but, you know, talking about like this stuff and give me updates that I can help, how we can continue to help, how we can continue to change the way we help. Because I know you guys have phases, right? Like you've got phase 1, now you're in phase 2, rebuilding, you know, and so I would just love for you guys to keep us updated on how it's looking out there, because I don't want anyone out there to feel like they're forgotten about. So
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first couple of days when you checked on me, Steph, and you were just texting me and saying like, hey, I know that feeling. And you were like, don't burn yourself out. Like you will be able to help months and months from now. And that honestly, that allowed me to even just like take a day off and focus on the kids. And I needed that. I was just like going. And I was drinking way too much wine because obviously you have to drink wine when you're in that state. And so
absolutely.
It just helped me to just like pull back a little and say like, it doesn't all have to happen right now. And it's so accurate. And the one thing I will say about this area, and I know this is true for so many areas, is people help people here. Like people will help their neighbor before they help themselves. And so I have full faith and just confidence in our communities and just the love for this area. Even like transplants that come in, like there is like, even myself, like there is just a love for this area and what's happened here. And so thank you for that. And I would love to stay connected and just keep talking and so forth.
Absolutely. And just something that I've kind of learned later in my 30s, I guess, is that, not just about this, but it is true to this, that you really can't fill the cup of others if yours is empty. And it's so easy to just hit the ground running and, what can I do? How can I be in all these places at once? I need to fix it, because I think fixers, I feel like we're similar in that, and empathizers, and we want to get there and we want to do, but the burnout is real and we can't help if you're burnout. So yeah, total like mental health days and 30 minutes of meditation or whatever it is, like totally called for. And it's not selfish. I feel like a lot of times people think I can't take a moment for myself. Someone's baby just died. Like someone's family member is missing. Like I can't, how selfish is that of me? But truly and honestly, it's not, because you giving yourself some time and space to process will pay that other family back tenfold, so I feel for the people out there who are going through this mental break and, burning the candle at both ends, because it's such a long, hard road for recovery. And I truly hope that there not only is physical, tangible supplies out there, but mental help as well. I hope that there's resources out there for people who like crisis lines and things that first responders and even you guys who are going and helping can utilize as far as like therapy, because this is going to be PTSD. Like hurricane PTSD for me is real. I stock up on food now. I do these things where like my kids try to get a bottle of water during hurricane season. I'm like, no, you can't touch that. That's for her. We need that. And I have this so as much as it's just a long lasting, this will stay with people maybe for the rest of their life. So I just think that, not only it's amazing that you are taking care of everyone, but it's so important that mental health is, taken care of as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, I've had you guys on for about 40 minutes now. So I know that Noemi, you've got to take care of kids. Shonda, do you got kids, Shonda? You got kids? Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, is there anything else you guys want to say before you jump off, or a message, or just?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, to you and Buddy, but also to every single person who's donated, sent prayers, just even thought of us. Like, even just like the amount of help that people are giving. Like, I know I said it already, but it just, like, I've never experienced anything like this. I've never been in a situation like this, but I've also never seen this much just love and support. And just, I don't know. Like, I just want to say thank you. I don't know how else to say it. Like, just thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I'm not gonna lie, whenever Noemi sent me your last video and I saw where you guys had said that you were gonna do all the things that you're doing to help, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and I just sobbed the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh.
It was like it really was. It's been an overwhelming thing to deal with, and for that first week it was hard to just process. And then we went up there that day and then came back and we saw your video. You guys are just doing amazing things. Like it's so appreciated. Everyone here, like I've told quite a few people about this because it's really amazing. And a lot of people are really they're so appreciative. I don't know any other words.
Oh, well, I can't wait to meet you, Shonda, in person, and I'll be there in a couple week and a half or 2 weeks or so. And so we'll just keep in touch, and I'll update everyone here watching how we get there and all the people that we get to meet and help. So, but I'll let you guys hop off and take care of your littles.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Shonda. Bye, Noemi. All right, guys. Well, I'm still here, and I'm so glad that they got to hop on. I got to speak to Shonda a little bit previously, and you guys know that I know Noemi from years ago, and I just want to also say thank you to you guys. I told Buddy when this all happened that I had this pull, and this something was pulling me to help. And and I didn't really know how or what I was going to do, but I knew that you guys love us. And I feel like we're all one big connected, I don't know, family. So we literally could not do this without you. So the thankfulness and just the love and everything, I'm so grateful that there is a platform like this that you guys would entrust in us to spread that love and spread that help, because truly without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I can't believe I'm getting a trailer to take up there. That was a dream of mine. And so you guys made that dream come true. And the trailers, one of my friends, she's letting us borrow it. So I don't have to rent it. I can just have it to use. So that's a huge blessing as well. Thank you, Jenny. But yeah, I'm just looking around, even in here, like all the stuff that has been overflowing from the other room spilled into this room. It's just, it's overwhelming, truly, in the best way. So I'm even having my mom and dad come next week. They're going to help me catalog and pack this trailer in a certain way that is easy. My dad used to work for UPS like forever ago. So he was like, I know how to pack a truck. I can do that. So I'm going to let my dad have his little element and teach me how to strategically pack a truck, which I've never had to do. Yeah, I just, Cindy, if you're asking, can we see? I did, if you want to, after the live, I did a little bit of a walkthrough to show you what all's in there. It's a little hard to actually like see because it's just like kind of, there was a method to my madness, and now it's just like floor to ceiling. So yeah, on our website, thedenmanhomestead.com, there's still 2 ways to help. The Amazon list is off because I wanted to make sure that everything that was ordered comes in time. There's still a t-shirt donation where if you buy a t-shirt, those proceeds 100% go to the Samaritan's Purse of that state of the t-shirt you purchase. And then also there is a PayPal donation option or a Venmo option if you would like to donate monetarily so that we can pick up propane, gas along the way, all that stuff that we're going to need to buy. I'm going to buy chainsaws. So stuff that I couldn't get from Amazon, we're going to buy locally and take up there. So your monetary donations, absolutely, if you're willing, that's great. But prayers, like your thoughts and your prayers and your good vibes and your good energy, which are all of you, truly, everything that I've been seeing coming through has just been amazing. Those that are like, I can't do much, but I can pray. That's enough. Like that is all we need right now. Like you guys praying and putting that out, the energy out into the universe to like help us get there, safe travels, I just can't tell you how each individual one of you have impacted me. I saved, Laura and Buddy were helping me outside the other day. The boys were too. They were mainly like the muscle bringing the packages, but Laura and Buddy were opening packages, and Amazon gives you these little paper tags that says you've received a gift from, and it has a little message from whoever sent the gift. I saved every single one. Every package has a tag in it, and I've saved them all, and I put them in a safe space because after this is all said and done, I want to do something with those. I want to showcase those gift tags and the names, and I want to continue to look at them and just remember the impact that you all had. So just FYI, I have a future plan to do something special with those. But yeah, I just it's been a week. It's been a week of planning and organizing, and I truly wanted to bring those ladies on so that you guys know that we do have a plan. We're going somewhere to meet up with them in the thick of it. So, and I asked Noemi, I said, should I just bring my 4Runner because it has 4-wheel drive? She was telling me how they have to take some really sketchy roads. And I said, I can take the 4Runner and pull the trailer with the stuff and then follow Buddy in the RV. But she said, why don't you just pull the trailer with the RV and then we'll unload. They have an off-road, like a vehicle that can get off-road at her house, and that we can take the supplies to the more remote areas. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be the plan, so that one, we can get the RV in the mountain roads that we used to be able to, and then I won't have to take our 4Runner. We can just utilize. They're going to take us around where we need to go. So yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways too is that if you decide to go help, if you decide that you have a weekend or for a long extended weekend that you can go up there, just have a plan. Noemi was telling me on a previous phone call that there's so much rebuild that needs, like sheetrock and that kind of rebuild type stuff, and people who are handy, who know carpentry work, who are in construction, all that is needed. But the main thing is to know someone or have a plan before you go. Contact a company or contact a foundation and say, how can I be of use? And then make a plan with them. There are organizations that will put people up in housing, like kind of like almost like apartments or like dormitory type areas that they've got people that will put you there, feed you in exchange for your time and your work. So there is so much opportunity to rebuild. But just, I think the number one takeaway is just to make a plan and to have a point of contact, and then obviously not go and just sightsee during, all the destruction, because that's you're just clogging up the roads for people who need to help, need to get to, to help. Those people are just causing backups, So 1 second, I'm gonna take a drink. Anyway, all that to say, I'm excited. Ooh, in my computer. I'm so excited. My heart is so full. I am anxious. I'm a little nervous. I'm honest. But I'm excited most of all just to be able to help, because, I've said it on the last live, it's like an accident of a family member, and you just want to get there and see them, right? You just want to see them and make sure they're okay. So I'm happy to bring you all along with me so that you can see what I see, and you can see how your donations have impacted everyone else. So we're going to move on from that, and I'll keep you updated on those things. Something else that's kind of exciting that I have been finally piecing together. This started before the devastation. I started working in my barn again, right? And I had to shut down my Etsy shop with all the soaps and the candles and all that kind of stuff because there was a tree through our roof. Just remember, we still have those holes in our roof. Yeah, that's still there. So our insurance, we had ended up hiring a third-party public adjuster to fight our insurance company because, our insurance company denied fixing our roof that has holes all through it. So we had to deal with that, and then to put my Etsy store on hold. But I have stuff now to put on the store, and it's not going to be like a whole bunch. I think I get a lot of sometimes when I open the store back up, I get all these messages like, oh, what? There wasn't a whole lot to choose from. I'm just going to put what I have out there so I can get a little bit of gas money or something for our trip. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to put what I have on the store probably this afternoon. If you want to check it out, it'll be on the store. It's not the end all. I will still have more to do in the future, but I'm going to put out what I have for now. And then once it's gone, once I get back from North Carolina, then I'll start that back up again. Got a lot of pots in the fire. That's the saying, right? Pots in the fire. Yeah. So I'm going to do that so that I can offload what we have here, and then get, sell the stuff that we have. I know that a lot of people have been waiting for soaps and salves and all that kind of stuff. So what I've actually done is I've put them in pre-made boxes, like pre-set, like little sets. And they're going to be different categories and stuff. You'll see. But if you're wondering about the Etsy store, there's a link on our website, thedenmanhomestead.com. There's an Etsy link. So if you are interested in looking at that stuff, it'll be available, I don't know, when I hop off the live. I'll make that back active, probably around 8 p.m. Central. So I'll get that going today. And then, so this whole next week, I'll just be working in here, getting everything organized and ready to go. Oh, and tomorrow I have to take Caden to his orthodontist appointment in the morning. Life, momhood. So we got that going on. Yeah, and I think that's really, oh, I don't know if you've been hearing these little chickens next to me, but I've got these little baby chicks, 3 little baby chicks. 3 of them hatched. The other ones didn't hatch. One of the eggs didn't develop at all. The other one stopped developing, but I've got 3 silky babies. I actually asked Bree, I said, Bree, do you think your mama hen Kisses would take, because she just hatched chicks too. It's like, do you think she would take these babies and raise them while I'm in North Carolina? We were actually going to do an experiment to see if her mama would they are her own chicks that came from her silky. I just wondered if because sometimes that if the mom knows that they're not her chicks, she'll, be mean to them. Sometimes silkies are really good at raising babies. Their silkies are a very, very top-notch mom. They go broody often and they're really good mamas. So I was like, maybe your silky mama will take my chicks and then she can just raise them. That was the plan all along for me, is to have a broody mama raise the chicks. And now I've got chicks in my barn next to me. They're like, dee, 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 dee. They're super cute. I'm going to grab one real quick so I can show you guys. Hold on. Don't freak out. Oh, look. Look. Say, okay. Shh. You're okay. You're okay. Thank you. He's turned into this, I don't know, like a gray. I thought he was going to be brown because Kisses and the rooster is brown. But I think one of the silkies she has is powder. It's a white silky. So this is one of the babies. I don't, look at him. Okay. And they've got little furry feet. He's got feathers all down to his feet. Or her feet. I'm not sure yet. We won't know until they crow. But you're just so cute. You're adorable. Yeah, they keep me company all day long in this little box next to me. Yeah, the 3 of them. I'm waiting for them to jump out of this box because it's not a very tall box. They're about to have to, because they're getting pretty big. They're about to grow up and have to get a new box. Okay. Anyway, that's just chaos. That's just, we got chicks in the barn, and it was so funny when I put the chicks in here, and when the mom went wasn't a good mom, and she was doing her thing out there, and I brought the chicks in here and had them set up right next to my computer. But he was like, of course there's chickens in this barn in your office space. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Well, what are we going to do? So, boots with the fur. Yeah, Tiffany, that's funny. So anyway, yeah, I will tell Buddy that you missed him. But honestly, tonight was about the girls from North Carolina and how we're going to help them. And I don't know. I just feel like God works in mysterious ways, right? So I met her forever away from my home. Big Bend, I think, is I can't remember how long it takes us to get there, 10 hours. You can't leave Texas. You can drive 10 hours and still be in Texas, right? So we drove forever away. We met her family there and connected in the mountains of Texas years ago. And now, here we are, and I know them, and I know, they're in North Carolina, and we have that relationship. And it's just makes you wonder, the people that come into your life and you don't really know, other than what's there's a purpose. People come into your life for chapters and seasons and lifetimes. And who knew back then that I would be able to do this with you guys to help them up there. It's just such a amazing, crazy world, crazy life, right? Beautiful life for sure. And so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for. But it's 7:00 and I'm going to hop off so I can do some stuff around here and organize and, do mom stuff, get kids in the shower and bath time and bedtime and dinner. But I love you guys so much. Texans won today. Sorry about that, Patriots, but we did. We won. But So I will keep you guys updated on everything that we have going on here. Thank you so much for your love, your donation, your prayers. They all mean so much to us. Catch you on the next one. Bye, guys. Yeah, baby?
Don't stop it.
Oh, I did already.